Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You. That's because I did my mail yesterday.
Oh, is that all your correspondence?
Those are all my tax statements for the office. So there's like 50 of them, and I'm like, where do I put on the envelopes? I got to throw them away, but whatever.
On the floor for now.
On the floor for now.
For now. It just makes the most sense.
Esta es una casa limpia. Everybody.
You know, you can be una casa limpia, pero still be real.
Welcome to episode 196.
Yes, sir.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yep.
Pero Friday. Welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You, episode 196. How is everybody?
Yes. I may or may not still be in a food coma from the fair.
From the fair. Yeah. I sort of liked how in our post, you know, it was like my one gyro to your, you know.
My buffet.
Your smorgasbord.
My smorgasbord at the fair.
I mean, and what I like about you is that it's like a full gamut, right? From the cheese sticks to the like more heavier stuff like
the fried flan bites.
The fried flan bites.
But it was fried, so I mean that's heavy. It was okay.
It was okay. But remember I had told you, I'm like
we're having it because we have to have it.
Fried flan bites sounds good in theory.
Right.
To me, the flan is already perfect. Like you don't
why do you gotta add to it?
You don't need to change anything
you're good.
about a flan. That's like, you know what I think is already perfect as it is? Es un tres leche. I don't need una cuarta leche. I don't.
What is the cuarta leche?
Dulce de leche.
So it's
tres leche.
So tres leche is regular milk?
Condensated and evaporated.
Did you say condensated?
What did I say?
You said condensated.
I said condensada. Wow. A como en manzana, C como en gato.
Exactly. I
said condensated.
You said condensated.
You know that condensated
milk. You know, just like the morning dew.
Well, no, it's pretty much un cuatro leches a tres leche, and they smother dulce de leche on top. Oh. And it's like, I don't need it. I don't need 4 milks. I'm good with 3.
Less is more.
Less is definitely more.
Yes,
less is definitely more. But yeah, I have to tell you that. So, you know, for those of you who didn't see it on Instagram this week,
who haven't listened to us for the last 5 years,
right? Ish and I went to the fair this week, and it was great. We were on a float throwing out beads.
You had more fun on the float than you thought.
I did, because I was like, before I was on it, you saw me. I was like, why am I doing this? This is so not.
This is not you. This is not you.
Me.
Yeah.
Being on a float, being like, oh, happy and cheery. That's not who I am.
Well, you're not a miserable person either.
Yeah, but I'm not the type to be throwing beads on a float either.
Okay, fine.
And it's the second time, as I told you, I ended up on a float. Because last year in Pride, I ended up on a float somehow.
I've yet to be on one, but
right,
you...
Right. I told you. It was so funny. Last year in Pride, I was like, this is moving, and it's not going to stop. And I'm on it. So what do we do?
You went in Rome.
Take the ride.
Went in Rome.
But anyway, so we were there throwing the beads. And what I thought was really funny was that you were actually really bad at throwing the beads.
I was horrible
at it. And yet
it.
I was like practically like throwing it in people's hands. Like,
well, you know, that's the difference between you and me. You know, I can't throw beads, but your baseball team was in a parade.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Right.
It all comes full circle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But no, what I was saying about, you know, eating, because, you know, some people just go to the fair to eat. And
I eat us.
And you were in fine form this year. Because
I feel like I recuperated from...
Yeah, no, I think this has been one of your best years. Because just when I thought you were slowing down, it's like, bring me the Hawaiian pizza.
It's like I got a second wind of food.
Yeah, that was like, wow. I've had like... You know, and I'm not a petite person. I've had, you know, un picadito aquí, you know, a gyro, and I was done.
Yeah, I feel like this year also, I mean, we shared.
I was about to go on the footsie wootsy.
We shared, but I feel like I ate more things single-handedly.
No, you did.
Yeah.
You did. So, good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
So, this week was also, well, actually it was last week, but, so, you know, we've been doing, you know, our separate interview episodes.
Yes.
And so this, we've had great guests this year already. We've had, Wilson Cruz, Gracie Mercedes, but this Wednesday,
As in next Wednesday.
as in this is Pero Friday. So, the Wednesday that's coming up now, the 30th of March,
Yes.
we will have what is probably, and I was just literally listening to the interview again today because I was editing it.
What, did I sound ridiculous?
No, you know what? No.
I didn't think I was going to keep it together.
You had composure.
I did. I thought it was going to be all like
No.
fangirling. Like,
No, but you
I love you.
But you kept it together. So if you can't tell, we interviewed Gina Torres.
And if you've listened to 196 episodes of Beat to My Dyslexia, 196 episodes of Pero Let Me Tell You, you may have heard a time or 40 where I talk about how much I love Suits,
right,
and how much I love
Jessica Pearson
and Gina Torres.
Right.
I may have mentioned it about 40 to 50 times.
In passing. Yeah.
Right. Somehow we start talking about Suits, like the show, and
it just
attorney
happens.
life. So
It just happens.
That I may know a thing or two about. But yes, we interviewed Gina Torres, and we've said many times when we started the podcast, we had a list of dream guests that we wanted to have on the show, and Gina Torres for me was at the very top of that list. And when we started this 4 or 5 years ago, whenever we started in 2018, I was like, Gina Torres, sure, yeah, like Gina Torres is not gonna be on this show. Like, it's just you and me recording, and
in Tristan's playroom.
Yes, like what? Like, no, at your house with the reverb.
Yeah. We weren't even here yet.
Yeah, we didn't even have fancy equipment.
No,
like we have now.
at all.
I'm like, Gina Torres, and she was. So, we've said this many times. This platform has given us a lot of opportunities that we're very, very grateful for, that we wouldn't have had otherwise. From again interviewing people that we really admire and are fans of, to
being on a float at the fair,
to sitting in the Tanner home on their sofa on the set of Fuller House, like. And at the end of the day, we couldn't have done that, or not. We wouldn't have had a season 2 without our listeners. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to our listeners. We haven't talked about our listeners in Cambodia in a while.
No, we haven't.
No, but
thank you.
But thank you to those of you who listen to us in Cambodia. Yeah. We really appreciate it. I would like to think that there's a group of people.
They all talk to each other.
Yes. No, like around like a speaker listening to Pero Let Me Tell You in Cambodia.
Maybe it's like a cafe.
Right.
Where people go every Friday.
We have, I haven't checked in a while, but I know for a time we had listeners in Australia.
You're eating a shake.
But Australia, I get, because there's a large Cuban population in Australia. But Cambodia was
kind of
surprised. And Vietnam was also there too, which is interesting because we talk a lot about
actually,
anti-communist
I'm
things.
I'm actually checking now the countries, only because I know for a fact that we had Russia for a while there too.
Oh, we did.
Was we had a big contingency in Russia. No longer the case. I'm just
Are we banned in Russia?
Let's see. In the last 12 months, Well, actually, you know what? They came in third. In the last 12 months, we had the most plays in the U.S., then Australia, and then the Russian Federation.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. Give me that. Let me see that list. Okay, so obviously
this is the last 12 months.
Okay, Australia, Russian Federation, Mexico, Germany, Ireland, Belgium, Spain, Canada, UK, Taiwan, France, India, Sweden, Brazil, Japan. Man, we're more international than the Spice Girls. Oh, Cuba. They listen to us in Cuba.
They've heard us in Cuba. Of course they have.
I mean, I'm reading off in order, like the countries. They listen to us more in Cuba than in Puerto Rico.
Well, that makes sense.
Singapore, Netherlands, Austria, Israel. There's people listening to us in Israel. In the Republic of Korea. Okay, north or south?
I think that's south. Okay,
Vietnam. Wow, Turkey, Colombia, Norway, Hungary, Switzerland.
Oh, and Ukraine.
Saudi Arabia is last on the list. Federated States of Micronesia. All these people are listening to us around the world.
Yeah, those are all the countries that listen to us.
You know what? I hadn't checked these
in a while, right?
These analytics in a while. Wow.
It's crazy.
Spice World Tour.
It's on the Pero World Tour.
Well, wow. Can we get any sponsors?
Yeah, we're gonna need a sponsor for that one.
I
Maybe
think Badia Spices should.
I was gonna say Lufthansa.
Okay, I'm gonna a little bit more local with like Badia.
Oh, I was thinking of somebody who can pay for the plane rides.
Plane tickets, okay.
Yeah, and then Marriott.
Marriott.
You know, we could do some type of. You know what? I want Virgin
Oh yeah, Virgin is the way to go.
because that's gonna get us international.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Virgin airplanes are like the best.
Oh, they're so cool.
They're so nice.
Yeah.
So Richard,
If you're listening, yes. Well, we have listeners in the UK, so if any of you.
yeah, but Richard doesn't live in the UK. Richard lives
No,
in
but-
his own island in the Caribbean.
But if any of our UK listeners know
Richard?
Sir Branson,
yeah, as one does.
as one
right?
does, we don't know.
So, actually, going back to what you first said about la casa se limpia, pero
Right, prega pero limpia. Yeah.
You know, it's when you said that, I've always thought that because, you know, me like many people, I loved to watch me some hoarders.
Oh man.
And wouldn't you tell the difference between people that really had a problem with hoarding? Because
Right.
we know
It is a mental problem. Yeah.
And but they weren't
Dirty. Right.
And then there was a woman who had liquefied cats in her house. Yeah, she would put them in plastic bags, and somehow they would decompose. It would liquefy. That's the way they would.
I just don't even know how to start with that.
And I'm like,
At what point did you think that was a better option?
yeah. And I'm thinking, just from a sanitary perspective, like,
No.
yeah,
No.
But you could tell on hoarders,
Yeah.
right?
Ella no usa mistolín.
No. I think I posted it once on the podcast, on our podcast page, but maybe I need to
We need to revisit.
yeah. Some years ago, I went to Sedano's, and there was like the whole area of house cleaners. Do you remember?
I vaguely remember
they were
this.
like all fluorescent colors.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That I was like, if they turn the lights off, this is gonna.
It's a
glow.
rave.
Yeah,
It's ultra in Sedano's.
And they were all like Latin
Yes, fabuloso, mistolín.
cleaners.
Yeah.
But there were even some that I didn't know about that were more like off-brand. And oh yeah, you're really enjoying that Jamocha shake.
I really am.
And I'm like,
Imagina, it was really a thick shake, so I've been drinking it for like an hour and a half.
it's not the worst. It's a king they invest in like
I think I got a hernia.
bigger straws. But yeah, like a Latin house is a clean house.
A clean house. It can be a little messy,
but clean,
but clean. Right.
limpio.
Right.
You know, there's nothing worse que tú ir a una casa y que los rodapiés abajo están sucios.
Oh no.
Or that corner.
Has the little like dust that's
Yes,
collected.
Yes. Because you know what? Dust bunnies can happen to anyone.
Well, you get busy.
Behind el escaparate, behind la
Abajo-
vitrina,
abajo del sofá.
Abajo del sofá. That
Right.
can happen to anybody.
Right.
Pero eso de las esquinas tan sucia.
Yeah, no.
And no.
No.
And if your countertops are sticky, there's something.
No, there's no excuse.
There's
No,
a
because
problem.
sticky countertops means that you're gonna have omega.
We don't want omega.
Y peor, cucaracha.
No. So,
Nope.
nope. What do you have for me?
No. Well, I don't have cucarachas,
Okay, good.
so that's a good thing. So 1 second here, because I jotted down some notes this week. So, okay, this is something really stupid, but did you see what's ending after 30 years?
SVU? No, Law and Order?
No, that will never end. That Mariska Hargitay is going to do that from the afterlife.
Is it a show?
It is a show.
The Simpsons?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Because the weekend was just on The Simpsons. I'm like, no, not now.
Not now. Nope. Yeah, one more guess.
It's a TV show.
It is a TV show,
The
yes.
Price is Right.
No.
I got nervous.
You would have heard about that. I feel like you would have heard if The Price is Right was ending.
Es que look, after Sábado Gigante ended, ya la ilusión fue robada. Me robaron la ilusión.
Your illusion was robbed.
So if Sábado Gigante came to an end, and CBS Sunday Morning?
No, Chico.
Because if
You would have known that before Jane Pauley.
I was like, no, maybe you found out something that I didn't.
No, you would have known that before Jane Pauley and Mo Rocca.
What?
Maury Povich is no longer going to be doing original episodes after this year, which I didn't even know they were still doing original
That
episodes.
was my. Oh, okay. I'm okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, wow, I didn't even realize
Is
that.
he still doing that? You're Not the Father?
That's pretty much all he's doing. So there's going to be a lot of people now who are going to be very unsure.
So what happened? Ratings?
Eventually, I think he just wanted to retire. Oh, yeah, Maury Povich. Shit. I mean, que la tiene Maury Povich.
Right. I didn't realize Maury Povich was still on the air. I hate to be one of those people because
Well, but it's daytime TV, which you're not really home for either.
right. Is Jerry Springer still on?
So Jerry Springer, his show, the Jerry Springer show, I think it's still in syndication, even though they're not doing new episodes. They tried doing a judge show called Judge Jerry, but it literally just got canceled this season, along with a whole bunch of other new talk shows. Like Nick Cannon's show got canceled.
Wendy Williams show got canceled.
Wendy Williams,
but for other reasons.
Wendy Williams got canceled. It's being retooled. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, when I read it, I was like, wow, Maury Povich is still, like, those are still new. Why does it all look old?
I mean, I don't know. I think that You're Not the Father, that was fun while it lasted.
But it became the thing.
It became the thing. No, and it was fun, and I indulged in it.
But that's all the show became.
But right, it's like, I mean, listen, that's been going on for a while now. So the fact that it lasted as long as it did is quite a feat to it. You know what?
I remember before Maury was that.
But what I think is interesting is that, especially with Maury Povich, is that it became the whole paternity thing, but that's all the show became.
Right.
It's not like, okay, they did other things and maybe once a week
right.
they had the paternity.
No, that's it. That was all it was.
I always found hilarious when the girl would be on, like, guy number 4.
Right.
Right? And she would be like, I know it's you bastard, F you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I mean, really, you're on guy 4, which, no judgment.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
But, maybe you should be, like, holding back a little bit.
There's room for error.
There certainly is room for
Right.
error. There has been.
Right.
So maybe you're not necessarily in the position right now that, this is like the 4th guy that they're doing the paternity test on.
Right.
For you to be telling the guy off.
Reserve a little bit of judgment. Just a
tad.
smidge. Yeah.
So, wow. I mean, look, I get it that it's for ratings, and I get it that you're gonna go with what people watch.
Right.
But Jerry Springer in particular, like, I remember when Jerry Springer used to have, like, really serious shows.
That's what I was gonna say. Daytime used to be like, you'd have their fluff episode, like mother-daughter makeovers or
Right.
whatever, but they were like topical shows, like Donahue and even Oprah. I mean, by the time Oprah ended, Oprah was just like, let's talk to the latest celebrity and here's my favorite author.
Right.
And now let's talk about
feeling
spirituality.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But even Oprah, in her time, and you had Jane Pauley had a show. What's the other one? Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones, of course.
Ricky Lake.
Yeah. Well, Ricky Lake, I mean, these are more like the more iconic ones.
But Charles Perez. Does anybody remember Charles
Do you
Perez?
remember when Cristina had her show in English?
Yes, I do.
That it lasted for like one season on
Yes,
CBS.
I do. Because that was a tryout. They were doing basically a pilot season in only certain test markets to see if it did well.
Obviously, ours, Miami was one of them.
Yeah.
And Cristina was the bomb.
Cristina was the shit.
Do you know what I remember was like one of the most controversial Cristina episodes? The one where she had the ex-member of Menudo who went on there to say, this was like
I don't remember this.
Okay, this was like early 90s. This was like maybe 91. So this was very taboo at that time, that an ex-member of Menudo went on to say that, I think the guy's name was Edgardo Diaz, their manager, had molested him.
Oh, I remember the whole scandal, but I don't remember the interview.
Right. And again, this was like the early 90s where we still didn't really talk about these things.
Right.
We didn't talk about Bruno.
Especially not Latin households.
Yes. And he went on there, and the kid's father threatened the manager, like, on air. He's like, I'm going to kill you. And Cristina was like, Señor, usted ha venido a mi programa a amenazar a muerte a este señor. But,
she took control of the...
Yeah. And then, of course, the famous Selena episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Where she interviewed Selena. And then, of course, one of my favorite kind of ongoing celebrities that Cristina had was Thalía.
Yes.
And she'd always be like, ay, Cristina, es que estoy tan feliz con Marimar, con María del Barrio. It's like, oh my God, Thalía.
She was always so happy.
She's, bring it down.
Yeah. Thalía was not happy the other day, though. She went to the beach. She said, "Emo."
Oh, yeah?
Like, really bad.
On her Instagram?
On her Instagram.
What's the name of her bird? Chuchi Chuchi or whatever?
Pikachu? Yeah, Chuchi Chuchi, yes.
Yeah. But man, those Cristina years, those were the bomb.
I would love to have Cristina on our show. I think she doesn't really do anything anymore. But
she's done.
She's
but
enjoying her
you
life.
You gotta respect that.
No, she's enjoying her life. She did her carrera and she's enjoying.
She did her carrera.
She did her
as
carrera.
one does her carrera. Her race. She raced.
Her race.
She was on the Amazing Race.
She finished her race.
Yeah.
And now she's enjoying.
But you know what's
retirement.
interesting though about Cristina is that she was such a TV icon, and you would have thought that there would have been more room for that. And
You mean in the English language?
no, in Spanish market.
Oh, okay.
There would have been more room for more talk shows, right? Because the only other talk
true.
show I can think of which came nowhere near close to Cristina was Cara a Cara with Maria Laria.
I was gonna say Maria Laria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Civ Sis had one for a minute.
But nothing.
No.
like
But I'm
her.
saying it was nothing at that
And
level.
even after she kind of ran its course, that like even somebody younger or with like a different perspective can
Right,
kind
right.
of take those reins. It's very interesting because you would think though that like a talk show is like a natural for a Latin audience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I
wonder.
whoa. Let me take that back.
But I wonder también just the nature of Latin
Let me
culture.
take that back.
Oh, God.
We did actually have somebody who was not more famous than Cristina, but infamous.
Laura en América.
Que pase, desgraciado. And it'd be like, you know what, though?
Oh, wait, I told you my favorite episode
What?
of that show, right?
What?
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Laura en América,
Laura en América.
is she peruana, right? Yes. Peru. It was total trash. I mean, she was essentially a Jerry Springer. That's the closest equivalent, right? So I'm watching this one episode, and she has this mother come on, and she starts crying that she hasn't seen her child, and her child is missing, and she hasn't seen her son, and her son, and her son, and her son. And okay, well, ¿quién se llevó el niño? Oh, fue fulano. Okay, so they bring out el desgraciado. El desgraciado comes out, and tú te llevaste el... No fui yo. So they go back and forth. Sale otro desgraciado. There's like 3 people on the stage at this point. I think even la abuela, whatever. And everybody's desgraciado. And then all of a sudden, Laura just turns to the audience and she says, bueno, yo les tengo una sorpresa. Nosotros hemos encontrado al niño.
Oh my gosh.
And they basically they lift up like a curtain.
Oh my God.
The poor kid is sitting in a chair. There's a chair next to him, so Laura can go and be like, ay, ¿cómo está? No, Laura, estoy muy feliz, pero estaba muy triste. Whatever. So then she finished. Now, mind you, the mother's been crying, the grandmother's been crying, like everybody's been crying. They've missed the child, but nobody has run to go hug the child.
Right.
Laura finishes interviewing said child who has been, reminder, kidnapped or gone missing, and then proceeds to lower the curtain again. So the child is now just behind this curtain in this chair.
And not reunified
with his parents. That is my favorite part.
I never saw that.
That was my favorite episode because I'm like, después de tanta cosa, these people didn't
go
hug.
You know what, though? I looking at it from a more like further perspective, and I've actually heard this too, that she exploited a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because-
She would go to like the poorer neighborhoods and
Yeah, I mean, none of those cases were probably real, and I'm sure those people were probably either not paid or paid very little.
Well, they would give them clases de computación
Yeah.
y carrito sandwichero.
Well, and actually,
And then she had to live in her studio
now that I think about it,
for tax evasion.
as far as like a replacement for Cristina, there have been some that have definitely carved their own space, because we can't talk about talk shows without talking about our local favorite, which is Doctora Ana
Doctora
Maria. You know,
But that's not a talk show. But you know what? She
turned it into a talk show.
She could have done a talk show. I honestly think
No,
that
she could have. She could have. But at the end, because she doesn't do that show anymore either.
No.
There was an audience.
True.
Yeah, and they would clap. There was a theme song.
There was taboo topics.
The moment that you had a theme song, you're a talk show.
Is that all it takes?
Right. And you know what's so funny? I feel that if you're in Miami, you know somebody who was either on that show or works on that show, right? And I've known many people that were producers. I've actually sort of known people that went on that show.
I know someone who's been on that
right,
show.
and it's all fake.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right.
Karla Croqueta was on that show.
And really?
Yes. There's a clip.
As Karla,
Yes.
As Karla,
like baby Karla Croqueta, yes. Like back when she was like total like trashier. It was her and Queef Latina.
so it was like two drag queens?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm dead
I've never
serious.
seen this episode.
That clip shows up every once in a while. Karla will post it, or somebody will tag her on it.
Anyway, wow, I didn't know that. So, wow. And I would tell my grandmother, Mima, eso no es verdad. And she's like, ¿cómo tú vas a decir que eso no es verdad? Eso claro que es verdad. Si la doctora Polo, ¿tú crees que la doctora Polo es una mentira? I'm like, no, la doctora Polo no es una mentirosa, but the show's made up. My grandmother never believed it. Like, she was always in denial about it. And I was like, you know what? It got to a point that I was like, Mima, you know what? Believe
It's like with wrestling.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Don't rob her illusion.
Don't.
But I wonder.
You know what, though? I could totally understand. And I'm going to tell you why.
Well, because People's Court.
No, I'm going to tell you why. Now that you mentioned wrestling, I totally understand. Because I feel that with our age group, we were into wrestling when we were little kids, like with Hulk Hogan
Peak
and all that.
WWF.
Right. Mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
But then, here's where you either were in it or not. I got into wrestling again in the late 90s with The Rock and Triple H.
The Raw is
Kevin
War
Nash
and all that.
And DX and all that. I got really into it. And I was like really into that whole Stephanie McMahon marrying Triple H and all that. I was like really into that
They're
drama.
still married.
I was really into that drama. And I would like watch that and get livid. And I'd be like, wait, this is fake. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, no. Like, there must be some truth to this. Like,
well.
And that was me, right?
Right. And you grew up in knowing.
Right. I kind of fell for it in a way.
Well, you suspended disbelief.
Right.
But with courtroom shows, though, like, for instance, People's Court will say at the beginning that the cases are real.
Right.
But what they do is they have people like, the people who are there aren't necessarily the.
What is it?
Dun 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 dun.
Who's doing it now? I was like Cristina Milan.
That's exactly what I was going to say too. It's Judge Cristina Milan. Yeah. Milan, not Milian.
Dip it low.
Yes.
It's back. That's right, everyone. The Youth Fair is back, and 2022 is its 70th anniversary.
Parece mentira. The Youth Fair turned 70 in 2022. Okay, no 70-year-old has ever been this much fun.
That's right. It's got over 120 rides, attractions, and shows. Not to mention our favorite, the food.
Elephant ear, corn on the cob, and some of our newer, soon-to-be favorites like deep fried flan bites and churro s'mores. Anyone?
I can't think past the deep fried flan bites.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. Así que get to the Youth Fair from Thursday, March 17th through Sunday, April 10th to be part of the celebration. And visit fairexpo.com for more info or tickets. Remember, be there, the fair. Who is also Cuban and from Miami. So if Cristina Milan and Cristina Milian both want to come on the show separate times.
No, together. We'll have a Milan Milian. Melee. But those are real cases that then I believe they have actors, playing the defendant and the plaintiff, but the cases on the People's Court are actual civil court cases. Right. So in that sense, maybe that I'm going to give your grandmother the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's where she was coming from, i.e., the people on there are actors, but
Los viejos think that everything is true. And that's okay. I thought Stephanie McMahon and,
But they are really married.
No, I know they're really married, but the whole drama on...
I was going to say, you're not wrong. They got married.
It's funny that, I think I've told you this. So I was really into wrestling, which that was, sort of the peak of... One of the peaks of...
The second peak.
WWF. Probably, I would say, 98 through 2001. Those 3 years that I even went to... I had ringside seats one time to see The Rock and Raw. And it's funny because... So Friends started, in 94?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, it did. It started in 94. And, those first few seasons of Friends, I watched it. And then obviously I watched the later seasons. And I'm like, why did I miss, the middle of Friends? I was like... once Friends had kind of run its course, or later, like in the later years of Friends, I'm like, why did I miss like such a chunk of seasons of Friends?
There were episodes that just weren't clicking.
And that's because
that's wrestling.
Because Monday night was wrestling, Raw, and then Thursdays was SmackDown, right? But I hadn't put two and two together. I'm like, because I used to watch SmackDown on Thursdays. Oh yeah, I remember I used to watch SmackDown. Y yo me ponía like mal, like especially when one of the people that I liked were like, I would like. Which I'm not that type of person.
But that's awesome though. I know people will be like, it's fake. But like, you know what, dude? There's so much other bullshit in the world.
Can you take a chair to the head? Probably not.
I cannot. Like for 2 hours, you know what? You just suspend your disbelief and just go with it. Enjoy it as a show.
Mira.
I'm sure that Linda Evans and Joan Collins got along lovely off screen.
That's how I feel about David Copperfield. Those David Copperfield specials in like the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s.
Peak David Copperfield. Yeah.
When I used to watch them, like, I believe he made...
Listen, I don't know everything in life.
It's like, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear. I'm not asking any questions.
Mira, you want further proof that he's a magician and a wizard? He got Claudia Schiffer to marry him.
Well, that's true.
If that's not magic, I don't know what is.
Come on, I know you don't care for him, but David Blaine, especially when he does like the street magic.
But his magic isn't magic.
No. I know what you're talking about.
It's like okay, I'm going to be in a box for 3 days.
Right, or I'm going to stand on a pole. Okay, I get that.
Tilda Swinton was in a box for a week.
He does a lot of like basic magic tricks with like cards.
Okay, fine.
That's like, okay, how do you do that? I
mean, fine.
Obviously, there's an explanation to this, but I don't even know how they cut the girl in half in the box. I don't know. That's...
If anybody knows a magician, we won't give away the secrets, but we want to learn.
I mean, do you know?
I don't know how to do anything.
I
can barely shuffle a deck of cards.
Like I'm not good at what game am I bad in? I'm bad at Wheel of Fortune.
You're bad at Wheel of Fortune?
That's
Fortune? Right. That's right. You are. You're very bad.
I can go on Jeopardy and freaking win Jeopardy. You know that I can.
But a Wheel of Fortune,
Wheel of Fortune, I'll never forget that one time. It was like, I forgot it was like people or couple. Okay. Right? And it was Jada and Will Smith. And I think the I was missing. And I had no clue. Like, I had no clue who it was. I forgot if it was the I, but it was like a common letter. Right. And I'm like, pero quién es? Like, I have no idea. I'm like, oh, it's Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. Like, no idea. And I'm like, yes, but I could talk to you about, like, 15th century British,
jams,
literature, right? I could talk to you about, the Bolshevik Revolution, but I can't figure out
that is Will and Jada.
No, with the I missing, I can't. You know what? You can't be good at everything.
It's true.
I made peace with that. I'm not good at Wheel of Fortune, and even if I was good, I'll probably roll a bankrupt.
You know what I would be upset to play with you is Family Feud.
No, espérate. And before we move on to from Wheel of Fortune, I'm so bad at Wheel of Fortune that when they get to the final, they always give you the letters RSTLE.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes I'm like, I can't think of any other letters.
Pero lo tuyo es serio.
It's horrible.
Lo tuyo es mal.
I'm like, okay, we give you the letters RSTLE, and I'm like, okay, what other letters are there?
Like ever?
I'm like, eh?
I like that you don't know.
Like I have to go through the alphabet. Like, wait, A, B, C. I'm like, I passed law school, people. I passed law school.
But the alphabet was not on the test.
The alphabet
was not part of the test. Nope, it was not.
Yeah, you can't be good at everything. What? Family Feud?
Family Feud.
Yeah.
Because I could see us like doing well and then like saying something stupid.
Right.
Like, a drink that you use a straw and you'd be like soup. And then I'd have to kill you.
Why would you think that I would be that person?
Because I could see you in that moment, like especially like at the end. At the end when you have like, right, when you have the timer, and especially if you go after the other person and they're like, meh, meh, and you have to be like, I could see you being like, oh my God, I don't know. Like, soup. Like,
RSTLE.
Yeah, like you
Is Steve Harvey still hosting Family
Yes,
Feud?
he is.
Hi, that poor guy.
Why?
He's no, the blonde guy from the 90s.
The one that committed suicide?
Yeah, why do we know him as that? Like,
well,
what was his name?
Oh, I have no clue.
Poor guy. He had like a lot of problems.
Well, clearly. I mean, nobody goes.
Nobody
does that. If they're...
I'm good. I'm good at Family Feud.
Okay.
And I'm especially good at the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that in mind. They're actually doing open calls now.
Oh, Family Feud.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
With Zoom.
On Zoom.
Well, that's how they're doing auditions.
But you know what's not fun anymore about Family Feud? That you don't get to pose in the living room.
They don't do the living room at all?
No, they haven't done that for years.
Aw.
Ever since they don't do the quilting.
Let's make that a condition of our appearance.
Right, because we'll be like, hi, we have a podcast. We've had Gina Torres on our podcast. Can you bring back the quilting to Family Feud?
I don't want the quilting. I just want the couch.
The couch.
I just want us to do the couch.
Oh my gosh. I've thought about never mind. Okay, so
You've thought about the pose?
No. This is I'm gonna move on to like another game show.
Okay.
So, listeners, we all do when you're friends with people. Again, you have your strengths and weaknesses. Correct. I can talk to you about almost anything. Just don't ask me to spell.
Oh my God, Melissa.
I could hold my own on a lot of things, but yeah, there's certain things.
Spelling is
not one of them.
Is a blind
and
spot.
It's okay. It's not my forte.
We have spell check. It's okay.
We have spell check. So listeners, I was really into Cash Cab. And for those of you who don't remember that show, that was a show
They
where
still have it.
There would be like a cab in New York. And when you would get in, it was usually like a van. When you would get in, it was a game show where they would ask you and some of the questions were very hard. Very hard. And I would always kind of say I could just imagine our group of friends. And obviously we're not going to name any names. I could just imagine our group of friends, right? And I know who I would want on my team, which are the same people you would want on your team.
And who would not be our first pick. Right.
And I'm like, I know what would happen. Our group, we would be walking.
Because we're a group of 10.
Right. Like Fifth Avenue or whatever street in New York. And somehow I'm in the back of the group. And when you're just walking and you sort of, not separate, but there's certain people ahead and certain people behind.
Yeah, you pair off.
And somehow you and the other people, who shall remain nameless, will get into
just a cab. Just a cab.
And then the other group of
get
people
into
the other cab. And then when I close the door and the lights start going, oh, you're in Cash Cab, I'll be like, fuck my life. I'm like, I'm in Cash Cab with these people. I love you all. I'll take a bullet for you. But
they're going to drop us off in a block. We might not even make it to air.
And I'll be like, crap. We all have those. We all have those friends, and we love them.
But everybody has their strengths.
Their family. I would take a bullet for them.
Just not in the Cash Cab.
Damn, I got you in the Cash Cab, but not the other people left. It's I'm gonna have to pull the whole weight, and they're probably gonna get to a spelling question.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the last one. You know what'd be even worse? It's if you...
No, I don't think we would make it on air.
No. But okay. If you're the only one pulling the weight, right? And you're doing... And it's great. And then you get to the location and they're like, okay, it's a double or nothing. You can... and you're like, yeah, because you're all confident. And then they're like, spell Saskatchewan.
I can't even say the word.
And then you lose all the money.
Should I say that story? I don't think I've never said that story on our podcast. I feel that in 196 episodes, our listeners know my.
They know us.
They know. Well, as a couple of listeners have said, I am the. What did they call me? You're the comic relief, and I'm the scholar.
The scholar.
Which is something I strive to be.
So, mission accomplished.
So, one time we were in Canada.
Blame Canada.
Say that. We were in Canada, and we were talking about the Canadian provinces, which I actually know most of them, or all of them. But this one Canadian province I couldn't remember how to pronounce it. I'm like, that province they have in Canada, Squatcha. But somehow,
Well, as usual,
you knew that was like, you mean Saskatchewan? Like, I'm like, yeah, Squatcha. Because I remember in my mind, I'm like, I'm looking at the spelling, but I can't figure it out. Like,
it's a lot of
there's a lot of K's and E's.
There's a lot of letters that don't normally go together.
Yes,
like there's Q's and S's and W's.
I'm like, and I was good. I was like, I mean, I know them all. I'm like, Ontario, British Columbia, Manitoba, Alberta, the Northern Territories. Okay, which one else?
Is Vancouver one of them?
Vancouver? No, Vancouver's Quebec. No, Vancouver's British Columbia. And then I got to that one, and I'm like, oh, I was like, the Jeopardy song was in my head. Dun, dun. I'm like, the one with the S and a lot of consonants. Like,
it's too many consonants.
Squatcha.
It's too many consonants. Damn it. Listen, Canadians, too many consonants.
We love Canada, though.
We do.
We do. You know, Tristan's dream is to go to Toronto.
Aw.
Yeah.
Why?
To find my beanie.
Listen, if you go to Toronto, how many years later, and find it?
Stranger things have happened.
That would be
so,
great.
So listeners,
if you go to the Lost and Found,
when I was up in Michigan, Toronto was like a 4-hour drive
Orlando.
away, and it was Orlando. I say this I say this playing around, but it's not. When you live in Miami, going to Orlando is the gauge and meter to road trips.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the most common road trip we take is to Disney.
Yeah.
3.5 to 4 hours.
Right.
So whenever we go somewhere else, if it's 3.5 to 4 hours, it's like going to Orlando.
Esto como ir a Disney.
It's like going to Disney. So it means it's manageable, right?
Right.
Whereas to some people, it's like, oh, you got to drive
4 hours.
I'm like, yeah.
That's a weekend, yeah.
We used to drive.
We leave work and go
to Disney and then, whatever. But so when I lived in Michigan, I used to go to Toronto all the time. And one time, when my friends went to visit, we went to Toronto, and I had this like beanie from the San Francisco Giants that I loved. It was one of my favorite things that I owned. And
it was a very simple beanie.
And it fit, which that's always a problem. And we went to the CN Tower in Toronto, as one does. And I lost it. I think it was like through security.
I'm not even sure.
The point is that I lost it. I was very upset because I really liked this beanie.
And again, it was just a black beanie with the logo.
SF. And I had actually bought it at the Giant store in San Francisco. So it was like legit. And I remember, bless your heart, like you went online. I think you even contacted like.
Oh yeah, not even
the
eBay.
Giants,
not even eBay, not even the Giants.
Nothing.
Like nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, okay.
And we have it in pictures,
so I know what it looks like. I can point to it and be like, "This, I need this."
Yeah, I'm hoping that one day I'm gonna find it. That I remember members only jacket.
Can you imagine if one day you're going through things and it's folded into the monk
costume? Because my monk costume.
Yes. The listeners know about the monk costume.
About the monk costume.
They do. They've heard that story. You still have it?
We've said the story of the monk.
Yes,
costume.
we have, because I talked about how that damn thing crossed state lines.
So I was a monk for about 20 years.
He was a monk longer than most monks.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know how that monk's costume started, right?
Renaissance Fair at school.
We had to go to the Renaissance Fair, and I'm like, Mima, I go to my grandmother, Mima, I need something for the Renaissance Fair. Like, un manto, I don't know, whatever. So she did a monk costume. It was like a brown, like
a monk costume. Yeah, a robe.
And with like the rope around it, with the cape. And actually, it wasn't supposed to be a monk costume. It was just supposed to be something Renaissance-y.
Oh, but it was a monk costume. I mean, at the end of the day, it was monk. It was a monk
Do you
costume.
think that I told my grandmother, I'm un monje, un de eso de monje?
Well, I don't know.
Whatever. But then I turned it into a monk costume. And being the uninspired person that I am for Halloween contests, and uninspired is a very inspired way of putting it.
Yeah,
because
you're being nice.
I'm even lower than uninspired, right? I was a monk from like 1995 through like 2009. And the funny thing was, which is one of my favorite things that Ish has ever said, is that one year when I was in Michigan, I went to a Halloween party, and I took the monk costume, and I was a monk. And he was like, that thing traveled state lines.
Not even then we could get rid of that damn costume.
I still
have it.
I still have it. But you know the thing about that monk costume is that it's brown, right?
Right.
So you just put like a white, like a beige or cream color, like scarf or whatever
Yeah.
around your neck, and you're a Jedi.
And yet you've never been a Jedi.
No, because it's just easier to be a monk.
And yet you just said how simple it is to change it.
Nobody's gonna ask me anything. I'm the lonely monk. It's Halloween. You know how I feel about Halloween.
You know what? No. You have very complicated feelings about Halloween. Because you love Halloween.
I do.
And every year without fail, what is the one thing that you tell me or
Are we
ask
going
me?
to Halloween con?
Right. Is anybody having a Halloween party? I want to go to a Halloween party. Can we go to a Halloween party?
You know my problem with Halloween?
But then you always want to go dressed as a monk.
You know my problem with Halloween parties is that we had a friend who had a mansion.
He listens.
He had a mansion, pretty much, on the water, on the Indian Creek on Miami Beach, as again one does. And he used to throw the most epic
Tremenda
Halloween
pachanga.
parties.
Yeah.
I mean, this looked like something from a movie.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
So after that, those years, because it was several years.
He did it for
It's kind of like, oh, you're throwing a Halloween costume with cupcakes. Oh, that's great. Like, like his costume, like his party.
No, and his costumes, he always went all
the
out.
dead wedding, like that. I went in a tux and all that.
As our friend, who was it that called it? He called it Rolly's white face party because everybody it was it was dead wedding, so everybody went with pintado blanco because they were dead.
Yeah, but I actually liked what I wore a tux with like the undo.
The bow tie.
Yeah. But then I had like eyeliner.
picture
So
somewhere.
I looked like sort of a rock star. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, you looked kind of, Panic at the Disco.
I could live with. I was thinking more like 30 Seconds to Mars, but
okay.
That's more what I was thinking of.
But eso mismo.
You are right, though. I do have complicated feelings
because I feel like you want to
but
do
something
Halloween.
is holding me back.
Like you want to embrace all of it and just be like, you know what, I am here and I am Zangief. Like I want to do it. But then, the you of it all, you get in your head and then you're like, I'll be a monk.
Right. Going from wearing a red Speedo with red boots and nothing else to being a monk. That is me.
That is you. That is so.
It's like inside, I want to be Zangief with the red Speedo, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to be a monk.
That is very you. That's you in a nutshell.
That is me in a nutshell.
That is you in a nutshell. Whereas every Halloween, I'm like, ooh, spandex.
Actually, you know what that reminded me of? Hopefully, I'm going to get back to the gym soon. And I was thinking, it would be really, funny to just kind of do a play on it, especially, podcast related, to, our outfits when we go to the gym. You go practically naked, and I go, with, a hoodie.
Un poco más, and you're wearing formal wear.
The only thing you can see is my face because I even wear the things.
It's like your gym wear is sponsored by Mr. Tux. Lo que falta.
Because I remember you told me that one time that I sent you a picture at the gym, and you're like, "What are you hiciste una promesa?"
Yeah, seriously. There are Muslim women less covered up than you at the gym.
I think that's another pretty fair,
Yeah.
Of
Well, but I wear what I'm wearing right now. That's not
okay, but this is conservative you, right? Because you're wearing a sleeveless shirt.
This muscle tee with little
running
shorts. Yeah.
No, this is conservative you, right? Because if not, you wear that little tank top you have, that stripper go-go boy tank top that you have, with even shorter shorts, and I'm not ready for that jelly. I'm not ready for that jelly when I'm trying to beat my PR.
Because when I go to the gym, I like to be able to see everything that's working out. If I'm doing legs, I want to see all the muscles and I want to see everything happening so that I know I'm doing it right.
No, I just want to be left alone.
Well, I'm not asking people to look at me. I want to see it in the mirror myself, by myself.
Yeah.
Well, unless I'm with my trainer. But anyway.
So let's talk about more substantial things.
Okay.
Right? I feel we've been off the rails.
40, almost 50 minutes into the show.
We were off the rails, but I guess that's what people come in for.
Yeah.
For better, for worse. So how is everybody?
I think they're good. It's it's Friday. Last Friday is spring break.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Well, here in South Florida anyway.
Does it really mean anything anymore?
Traffic-wise, it does.
Well, that is true. That is true. You never did spring break in college, right?
No.
No, I feel I'm asking you this like if
Like you weren't there.
like I wasn't there.
Yeah. No.
Did you watch listeners, did any of you watch the confirmation hearings?
I did not.
Why?
Well, because I was watching other things.
Ketanji Brown Jackson? You don't watch any of the confirmation hearings?
No. But that's what you're here for, to bring me up to speed.
So I watched them, like I left them recording.
Oh no! I'm sure that you had a viewing party.
I had a viewing party of
The Supreme Court
of
hearings.
2.5, me, Jake, and Tristan running in and out of the room because well, I mean, look,
So she's a hometown girl. Let's start with that. She's Miami native.
So this week was a nomination for Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I've talked about this a lot, and obviously in past seasons when either it was Brett Kavanaugh, his confirmation hearings, and
Y la otra.
Amy Cooper.
Amy Cooper?
No, you know what I was about to say?
Mayim Bialik's character on Big Bang Theory.
Amy Comey Barrett. Comey Barrett. I was about to say Amy.
Amy Farrah Fowler.
Farrah Fowler. Yes, her. She's not. Oh well, I mean, look.
Actually, she became Amy Cooper.
Yeah. So I can't say Cooper without saying Cooper.
Oh.
Anyway, I digress. But anyway, so it was a confirmation hearings this week, and I have a really hard time, and I get very bothered when these confirmation hearings happen, because I feel that the public, especially now with social media, everybody weighs in, and even the media sort of puts these people in a box. And I've said this time and time again. What you have to understand about Supreme Court justices or nominees for that in this conversation is that these are people, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not. Actually, no, let me take that back. These are people that you shouldn't like or not like, because unless you are somebody who's well versed in their history as usually it's a federal judge. In their history, most people give opinions about Supreme Court nominees simply based on tribal politics, which shouldn't be the case, right? I say this time and time again. The people that are nominees are people that have reached the height of jurisprudence. And in the height of jurisprudence, it's not about politics. It's not about party.
Or it shouldn't be.
But it's not.
But let's broaden the scope, because we're all human. That's what I'm getting at.
No, it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. And I always give this example. Chief Justice Roberts, who was nominated under the Bush administration, he is, quote unquote, a conservative, right? But he has many, many, many times sided with and ruled on things that you would think are liberal. Like, for example, he was one of the justices that ruled in favor of the Affordable Health Act about Obamacare. And a lot of people on the right were kind of like, oh my God, like, how can he do that? Well,
because they make the judgment based on the facts.
Because he's a justice, and these people don't look at these issues through the eyes of politics, which that is a good thing. Right. Just like now, a few months ago, the Supreme Court, including the Trump picks, the justices that
appointees.
Trump appointees, Neil Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and again, I was going to say...
And Amy Farrah Fowler, yes. Okay. Mayim Bialik, yes.
They actually, in their rulings of that case, ruled against him. Right? Because again, these people are at a point of jurisprudence that they don't see party politics.
It's about upholding the law.
That doesn't mean that they don't have their own personal view on things, but it is their interpretation of the law. And I get really annoyed when people who shouldn't be making opinions and shouldn't be having comments on these things make comments, whether it's somebody on TV or just on social media. You don't know the Supreme Court. And that's something that, like, again, I could not win in a Wheel of Fortune, but I could win in Supreme Court Jeopardy, because the Supreme Court, tickles my fancy. Like,
yes, it does. In your monk costume.
I hate to say this, but I'll say it. I've actually read Supreme Court. I mean, I had to read Supreme Court cases.
Well, but you've said this before.
But I sort of have read other ones for fun because I love it. Like, I love when you understand the power of the Supreme Court and how it has shaped our society and our country and our history, you see it in a different way, and you see that the words that these people have and the rulings these people have, that directly affects the life that we live today, right?
And their word choice is always very purposeful.
Yes.
Again, that's something people don't realize or want to realize.
And when you understand that, you don't even have to have studied law, but when you understand that, it's annoying that it's so trivialized to something so just wash away like politics, right? So to Ketanji Brown Jackson, they were trying to make this a show because this was sort of the Republicans' revenge on, especially Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because Amy, damn
Comey
you,
Barrett.
damn you now.
Comey Barrett.
I mean, she got a little pushback, but I don't think she.
Right. This is payback for the Kavanaugh.
Right.
And, they tried to put her against the wall. Like they asked her the other day, what is your definition of a woman? They asked her that. Like, how are you supposed to answer that? Right? And she said, I'm not a biologist. Like, why? Like, inside she's like, why the fuck are you asking me this? Right? Because where that question was going.
Because eventually a trans issue is going to come.
Right. And you know where that question was going. Exactly.
Right.
So she was in a no-win situation in that answer. Right? Because if she says, well,
a woman is somebody born
the biological route of that you're born a woman,
she'll get dinged over here.
Right, over here.
And if she goes, a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, then she dinged it over here.
Right. So it's a no-win situation for her. Right. And it's just, again, like the and then ¿cómo se llama él? One of the
Cruz?
Chico, no, the melting candle.
No, the melting candle is McConnell.
I think it's Cruz.
No, Cruz is not melting yet.
I'm melting.
Yeah.
Chico from South Carolina.
Lindsey Graham.
Why couldn't I remember Lindsey Graham's name? He starts asking her about her religion, and that is just, again.
But isn't that one of the things that people were trying to bring up with Amy?
Well, they did. They did. And it was wrong with her.
Right.
And it's wrong with this lady.
Right.
That should not be asked because religion, what her faith was, right? Because obviously issues with religion come up in the Supreme Court all the time.
Of course, yeah.
Is it your First Amendment right?
Like when you had to study the case about Santeria.
Oh my God. The Church of Babaluache versus the city of Hialeah.
Right. That's a Supreme Court case.
That it was about a
freedom of religion. Freedom of religion is what it came down, yeah.
And I remember I would talk to my friends up in law school about Hialeah. And all of a sudden I remember us turning the page in constitutional law and it's like, Hialeah made it to the Supreme Court and into law schools around the country.
The little city that could.
But
like you said, religion will come up, but they were asking some capacity.
Her personal faith and her practice and so on and so forth. And it's like, I can't believe that they're asking this woman these questions. You know what? Grill her on her record, because the Supreme Court, a Supreme Court position is for life.
Right.
So you know what? Grill her on her record.
You decided on this way. Why?
Scrutinize her. Right. Anybody that is put in that position should be scrutinized. I agree with that 100%. It's not personal, but you are going to be scrutinized.
Right. You decided this way. Why?
But so many of the questions that were posed to her were not about that. It was about proving a point that wasn't even about her, just a bigger point.
Right.
And it's like, this is not what it should be doing, because I would like to think, as a constitutionalist, which I consider myself to be, that as dirty as politics are and as separated as we are politically, I would like to think, and I still believe in the Supreme Court, and I still believe that our courts and jurisprudence has not been tainted by the division and the angst of politics. I would like to believe that, and I'm sure a lot of people.
Do you think with the recent cases decided that they've proven you right? Like you were just saying that, like, these people cited this way, which you would have thought the other way.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, look, there's a lot of cases that I've disagreed with, but that's okay. I mean, for every other case that I agree with the outcome, there's going to be 10 other people that disagree with it. But those cases that you're talking about, those are the examples I always give, that you, assuming that somebody's alleged political alliance or that they were brought in by a Democrat or a Republican means that is how they're going to rule in the Supreme Court is a mistake. And
it's an oversimplification.
It is. It's a very rudimentary way of looking at something that is extremely layered and extremely complicated,
but
which is jurisprudence.
But the problem is that the majority of the people making this decision on both sides are so used to tit for tat, that they can't envision anything outside of that type of a system.
With that said, I thought Ketanji Brown Jackson was amazing. I thought she was so composed, so well spoken. She is like one of the most qualified.
She's more qualified than anybody
there. And
I've seen that chart.
I love the fact, because I've always said this. Well, I mean, obviously, this is my opinion.
On your show.
On my show. I've always said that, and it's something I still feel very, very strongly strongly about, is in defense. I believe in defense. You have to defend people. Not only is it in our Constitution, but it is the core of our laws.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, it is. And, I did defense for many, many years, and I hate it when people always ask you, oh, as a defense attorney, will you defend a child rapist? That's always a question people tell you. Oh, will you defend somebody that rapes children? And I'm like, first of all, somebody who rapes children is an asshole, and,
I think we can all agree.
Person,
right.
And that is not even...
That's beside the point.
That's like one case out of like 1,000 cases, right? Because that's what they always talk about, the child rape.
Siempre los extremos.
Right? And as I tell people, in order for the law to work, it has to work for everybody, including the guilty and including the terrible person. Because one day, either you or a loved one or a friend is going to be on the other end of that. And you want to make sure that there's a system that is withheld, that you can be defended, and that you have a right to due process, and you have a right to be, as you said, guilty until proven innocence. Because that you have to look. Did I just say that?
Hey, you're having a dyslexic moment this whole episode.
I know. Innocent until proven guilty. I swear. I passed law school. I got A's. You have to have a system that protects that, because you never know when you or a loved one is going to be on the other end of that. And I love that about her. I love that she was a defense attorney. She was a public defender. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think that will give her a perspective that not a lot of people in the court have. And she's from Miami. So
we're a little biased.
There's that. So, but best to her. I like her. I hope. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see why she wouldn't be confirmed. There is enough. The Democrats alone have enough to confirm her. But then again, Joe Manchin may not agree with it. But
Joe Manchin,
yeah, West Virginia. Didn't you know? Wow. So Joe Manchin is a Democrat. He's from West Virginia, but he's kind of been a thorn in the Democrat side because he's had sort of a problem with everything Biden has tried to pass. Okay. The problem is that without his vote, they can't get it, because then it's 49-51.
Got it.
Yeah. So
I was like, is that Tiger King's brother? Like Joe Manchin?
Oh yeah, what's up with Tiger King?
I don't know. I think he's still in jail.
Yeah.
I'm
sure he'll have a reality show when he gets out.
I think he has cancer or something.
Joe Exotic?
Exotic, thank you. I couldn't remember his last name.
How can you forget Joe Exotic?
I had a brain fart and I just went Tiger King.
To believe that Joe Exotic in Spanish is Jose Exotico. I like it even more.
That sounds like a furniture outlet.
Jose Exotico. Where?
In the warehouse district. I get off of Bird Road and they saw lots of rattan.
That is where you think that is not where I would find Jose Exotico.
Lots of rattan.
Lots of rattan. Anyway, the Oscars are this weekend, right?
Yes, they are.
Are we watching?
I'll tune in. I mean, it's on. If for another reason I want to watch just to see Ariana DeBose win, she's going to.
You know that,
and there's just something infectiously lovable about her.
Yeah, you know that. As you probably know, there's going to be less categories in this
televised.
year.
Yes,
televised. And I'm one of those weird people that I love the Oscars to be long, and I love for them to be boring. They should
celebrate everything.
I sort of approach a long Oscar ceremony the way I approach when I watch Dr. Zhivago, which is one of my favorite all-time movies. It's like, okay, here goes about 3.5 to 4 hours of my life.
Just deal with it.
It's gonna be long.
Order something to eat.
It's going to be cold because it's cold.
Because it's your house.
Well, it's my house, but Dr. Zhivago's in the Russian winter, and the Oscars is at the Kodak Theater. The Kodak Theater is cold inside.
I can't imagine it's warm.
Right, it's cold.
Well, but they probably
it's a Dolby Theater now.
No,
wow,
but they probably have to. But they have to find some type of happy medium because there's a lot of women with like off the shoulder dress.
No, but it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah,
but the lights of the cameras.
Okay. Because you can't have a shot of Nicole Kidman naive shivering.
Shivering Nicole.
Yeah, that's not how she enjoys her AMC theater.
So, yeah, it's sort of like when I watch Dr. Zhivago. I know it's going to be long. I know it's going to be about 4 hours of my life. I'm going to be older when it's over. but I'm in it for the long haul.
Right. For all of it.
All of it.
All of it. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right. And honestly, I am one of those people that yes, of course, everybody waits for Best Actress, Best Picture, Best all that at the end. But I do like the technical awards.
Yeah, I like makeup and costume design.
And I love screen play.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think of? Best screenplay.
Matt and Ben?
Of course. Yeah. Matt and Ben.
I'm like, wait, Matt and Ben, yes.
So yeah,
They also said that some of the red carpet is going to be pre-recorded.
Just change the whole thing up.
Yeah, just air it on Tuesday.
Yeah, air it on Tuesday. Put it on, I don't know,
TikTok,
on Facebook Live.
Just have a highlight reel.
Yeah, at the rate we're going, I mean,
look at Fanta.
Look at Fanta. And then they put it, on Instagram or Facebook Live. I'll be
Facebook Watch.
I'll be like, Dad, I need your Facebook account.
No, because if it's on Facebook Live, they'll probably also do Instagram Live, so you'll probably be okay.
No, and then the problem is that if it's on Facebook Live, my dad doesn't know any of his passwords, so I'm not going to be able to put it on my phone.
Yo no entiendo.
My dad and the passwords?
Yes.
That's my dad. That is why my dad... Have you seen how many Instagram accounts my dad has?
Yes.
It's like 4.
Yes.
And he has like 4 or 5 Facebook ones because, I don't know my password. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
So he starts from scratch every time.
Every time. And then I started writing down the passwords for him.
Well, didn't do look good.
No, because what happened is that whenever he had to change his password, then he changed it to something completely different. So I'm like, the point is for you to write it down, Robert. No, when I go to my parents' house,
doesn't his phone have
when I go to my parents' house and I see the look, I'm like,
el password.
I'm sure this is true of everybody. When you get to your parents' house, it's like, okay, who am I going to be today? Am I going to be the lawyer? Am I going to be the technician? Am I going to be the engineer? Am I going to be the handyman? Am I going to be the translator? Am I going to be a que saca la basura? Like, who am I going to be today? What do you need, Robert?
My father this week literally texted me to ask me.
And your dad has no excuse.
To ask me, how is it again that, on the keyboard that you do to have the ñ? It's the Alt button, and then 164 on the number pad. But he could have Googled this.
I didn't know that.
But you would have Googled it.
I probably would have.
Again, he could have Googled this.
Yes.
But no, he texted me. And I had totally forgotten, so I had to Google it. And then I texted him back. It's like, you could have just found this on your own. But that's...
Do you know what?
But that's being a child.
Yeah.
You just have to do those things.
Do you know what Robert told me the other day? ay, ¿por qué tú no llamas a la operadora para pedir el número de teléfono? I'm like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? The man who has 2 Chromebooks and has had a cell phone forever. I'm like, why don't you just Google it? Ay, es verdad.
Call the operator?
Sí, 411, whatever. To
Oh, it was
get a
like, what is
phone
this,
number.
1920?
Yeah,
was he
to
going to
get a
call?
phone number.
Was he going to be connected to
No,
like
he told me,
Z12.5?
No, he told me call. Sí, llama a la operadora para que te den el número de teléfono. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you have 2 Chromebooks. Like, just go to Google and put about an optometrist.
So was it okay? Wait a minute. So it was for like a public
I
number.
actually think he had a brain fart.
But but still, why didn't he pick up and call la operadora?
Because I was there. No, I love when my parents give me una carta en español to read.
But that's their native
Oh, no,
tongue.
they're like, no, porque tú entiendes esa cosa. I'm like, this is Medicare. I don't understand about... I was like, just because I have a law degree does not mean I know everything.
Barely understand it in English.
You know that I've told you a million times. Do you know, when I deal with Medicare or Medicaid, I think to myself, I'm not an unintelligent person. I'm smart.
I have a law degree.
I have multiple degrees. I went to college. I'm smart. I'm well read. Like, I know things. Like, but this to me is like, it's like it could be in like
It might as well be
alien
Sanskrit.
code. Like, yes. Like, how on earth does this work? I don't understand it. Pero los viejos se lo saben.
And yet, people come here. They're here for 6 months from Cuba, and they figure out how to darle la vuelta and do fraud.
No, sí, the other day I was hearing unos viejos ahí talking about Medicare. No, porque yo estaba con tal clínica. Pero ahí no te incluían 4 coronas. So, porque didn't include dental care. So, me llamé y me impuse en otra clínica que ten... No, wait. The story gets funnier. Que I think it was Gano Health or whatever, que te incluye dentista y te incluye, creo que 2 o 4 coronas, crowns.
Okay.
2 o 3
So he needed
coronas
una corona.
al año. And I kid you not, later that day when I was driving home from Hialeah, there was a huge billboard of una vieja comiendo mazorca.
Mazorca. I've seen it.
You've seen
I've
it?
seen it.
You've seen it? It goes, 2 crowns included. I'm like, oh my God.
I've seen that billboard.
I'm like, I can't believe this. Meanwhile, I don't even know like how to begin to like.
Pero es que los viejos no tienen nada que hacer.
Okay, but again, I have no concept of it. It's very complicated.
But
Because there's
I
like part
agree.
A and part B, and you supplemento.
Oh no!
sé qué.
Yeah. You should have like a thesaurus or
Yes.
like a table of contents, not thesaurus.
Listeners, do you know Medicare and Medicaid? Because we don't.
I don't even pretend. I'm not even gonna pretend that I do. But again, because they have to deal with it so often, they kind of have to know.
Yeah.
You know? También, you know what happens? Que they all go to las clínicas, to like los comedores, eso, like León and whatever, and they have people there who literally will sit with them y se lo explican todo.
Yeah. Get your hair done while you wait for your,
Listen, let me be old enough. I'll go there and I'll get my hair done. I'll get todo gratis que me lo den.
Que extraño que no han hecho un reality show de eso en América TV. América TV.
Well, maybe they will now that we give them the idea.
I know, right? Afternoons at Leon.
I mean, the sponsorship is built in.
Doesn't it throw you for like a curveball when you hear the commercial in English? Leon Medical Center.
I don't know what that is.
I'm like, what is Leon?
I don't know what Leon is.
Because Leon is
It's not
Leon.
Leon. Nope, it's not. I'm not. Sorry. I almost would prefer that they'd be like Leon Medical Center. Or like I'd prefer they just do it with an accent. Leon, I don't know what that is. I don't know where you want me to go. I don't know what you want me to do.
Leon Medical Center. Do you remember some years back when we were watching the Super Bowl? They had a commercial. I'm like, man, Leon made it.
Well, no, they're making bank.
Yeah, well, no, they are. But I'm like, man, you're talking about Super Bowl status.
Even local Super Bowl spots are expensive.
Yeah.
Because,
Do you know how much they are?
I mean, not off the bat, but it's easily a couple thousand for just one 30-second spot.
Have Super Bowl ads like gone down, like in terms of how much they charge? Simply because I say that, I feel in the last few years the Super Bowl ads haven't been that big of a deal.
I think they've been able to maintain it because as viewership for other things goes down, Super Bowl has maintained its numbers, so they can justify it from the perspective of like, you're going to get more bang for your buck. Even if there's not that surprise element anymore that there used to be, you're still going to reach the biggest amount of TV audience that day. Not just here, but if you're a national and somebody's watching it like on a satellite, you're going to reach them globally.
Well, you would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know my favorite Super Bowl commercial is, right?
I don't think I do, but I want to say Ali Landry.
That was the Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah.
The Doritos one?
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, I love the classic 1984 Macintosh
Okay,
one,
but
because that's also my favorite book.
But I don't remember that commercial. Like, I don't.
But you've seen it.
No, claro. What I mean is, I don't remember seeing it. Like,
Well,
on a Super
no,
Bowl.
no,
Right.
I don't remember watching it Super Bowl Sunday in 1984.
Okay, no.
right?
But that's what you're asking.
In January of 1984.
But is that?
in
But
February,
are you asking which is your favorite?
Well, no, because
overall, or that we've
my
seen?
favorite, it has to be. I think it was, I don't know, 2008, 2009, 2010. Uno de esos años, the Volkswagen one. The one
With Darth Vader?
That he
was
had
cute.
he was using the Force, and the guy with the
The-
automatic ignition turned on the car.
That was a very cute.
That was like so great and so simple.
Yeah, there was nothing to it really.
I mean, okay, so it's soda time.
It is soda time, and I think you can go ahead and tell the story because we are going to give it to the same person, but it's definitely one of our more left field.
Yeah. So let me just
And this person could probably use a soda and refreshment.
So let's recap. Why do we do our last sodas?
Yes.
It's been a staple of the show since episode 1.
Yeah.
Long ago, 2018. So we, usually most of the time we either give it to like philanthropic
Right. Someone or
entities. We like to highlight people that have done great things.
Or just bring us joy sometimes.
We give flatless sodas
Yes.
to people that are awful and deserve
Gasless sodas.
No,
yeah.
I gave un batido de chapapote.
Oh, that's right. To esta tipa from
Ileana Garcia, and I would send her another one. I'll send it supersize. I'll bring back the supersize just to
just for
that.
chapapote.
Just for chapapote, right? Un batido de chapapote. Oh fuck, that would mess up la batidora.
Oh, it really would.
It's a great word in Spanish, right?
Batidora.
In English, it's just like mixer,
Blender.
blender. But in Spanish, it's batidora. And you know what's the greatest word in Spanish, right?
Hipoteca.
Well, that one's good. But my favorite is portarretrato.
Oh, that is a good
In
one.
English, frame.
A portrait.
Frame. In Spanish, un portarretrato.
Anyway, back to
Anyway.
so it's something that's bringing us joy or that's putting good into the world. I think,
Right.
unless it's a
so earlier this week, a friend of mine on Instagram posted something about on stories or whatever about this person who dresses up in like latex fetish, and when I first saw it, I thought very kind of stereotypical.
right. This is going to be like a tatted person,
right?
with
That,
gauges.
You probably think people that are like very into that like latex fetish lifestyle are people that look a certain way and have a certain again lifestyle and whatever.
preconceived notions.
Huh?
Preconceived notions.
And we know that that's wrong. Right. So when I sort of clicked on the picture and looked at the person's profile, I couldn't stop watching because this person is actually an attorney and has 2 daughters, is married to a woman, has a very what you would
average.
call average mundane life,
And not in a bad way,
like
just, an everyday.
dinners, things like that, right? What you would call very mundane. And
I wouldn't say mundane, but like nondescript.
but I don't say mundane in like the bad way. I just say like average,
Every day, yeah.
Joe Schmo,
Yeah.
right? But this person has a latex fetish, and they go around town to different establishments, Target, Publix, Dunkin' Donuts, so on and so forth, dressed up in this character called Latex Dolly. I believe that's the actual name.
I believe so, yeah.
Character.
Are we going to say the name of this person's Insta?
Should we?
I mean, it's public. It's public, and one of the beauties of the reason we're giving this last soda is because he is living his truth.
That you know what, you are right.
So it's Andy, Andi, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So give me one moment while I look it up.
But anyway, why
it's
he does
Andy,
that?
Andy Skell.
Why he does that? I just found it fascinating that there's such a duality to this person, because we so many times say about like people living their authentic self and being who they are and stuff like that, and it's like, wow, this person is really being who they are.
Yeah.
And like balls to the wall.
Andy Skell, ANDISCHELL. And, again, this is someone who posts pictures also like with his daughters. One of his daughters has Down syndrome, and for International Down Syndrome Day, he was posting about it. They go out together, and it's just part of who he is. It's not everything.
Yeah. And what I actually sort of, I don't know, one of the many things I found very interesting is that a lot of times this whole like latex fetish is very overly sexualized.
Right.
And that's not saying that maybe there is a time and a place that
for all
may or
things.
may not
Right.
do that, but it's very sexualized. And like, this is, again, Latex Dolly goes to
Target.
Goes
Publix.
to Publix.
Latex Dolly, okay, every Tuesday bakes for the neighbors a bundt
Some
cake.
delicious bundt cakes.
Let me tell you something, because he posts all the pictures. Bundt cakes that look delicious. Some chocolate chip banana bread. I don't even like banana bread, and that thing looked good.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip cookies.
You don't like banana bread?
I'm not a fan of banana flavored desserts.
Okay.
And I think it's like every week.
Banana nut bread is a key to but go ahead.
Don't lie, it's flung.
Well, but
Okay, but this is someone who is a good neighbor. You know what I mean? For all that we've seen, right? Like, he bakes and takes and dresses up as Latex Dolly, and
very involved with his family.
yeah.
And I
wait,
like,
did you say what the best part is?
what?
They're in Naples, Florida.
Yes, and we know somebody who
Kind of lives in the neighborhood.
yes, and I don't know. I find it fascinating in like the best possible way. Like I would love to meet him.
I would too. Like if we were to bump into him at Publix
I'll be like,
in Naples,
oh my God, we're totally taking a selfie with.
it's a
your selfie
celebrity.
stick. Yes.
It's a celebrity.
Yes.
Like, it's Latex Dolly.
Yes. I mean, I fell in that Instagram rabbit hole. I was so unproductive because I found it at night. And then when I found it, I told you, I was like, I can't wait to tell you. But it was like really late at night. But then the next day, like around the time that I was like texting, our group chat of our friends, that I was like, I really fell into that rabbit hole. I was like, this just gets greater and greater and greater, But again, the reason why we kind of mentioned even giving it to this person is because we talk so much about living your authentic self and being your true self, blah, 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 blah. But, that's very difficult. And a lot of times, we only show a part of who we are, even if we say we are living our authentic self. But this person, I mean, is showing something that is still very taboo, that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And he is out there in the world being like, this is what, guess what?
Yes. Latex Dolly is here.
Yes. This is who I am, and I'm going to Publix.
Yeah.
Because I need to buy my,
It's
groceries.
It's early, and I need to go to Dunkin' Donuts to get my caffeine.
And he's very festive, which I love.
Yeah, they have different themes.
Different
I've told you,
for
the
the
one
holidays.
question I would have for Andy, though, is if Latex Dolly is some type of, like, authority figure.
Yes.
Because she appears to have a badge, like a little sheriff badge thing, and is always wearing it. So that's my curiosity.
Yeah. But good for him. And, he gets both of our sodas.
Absolutely. Mostly because wearing latex in South Florida is hot.
Yeah.
So he needs a soda.
He needs
two sodas.
He needs a lot of
He
refreshment.
needs a lot of refreshment.
To keep so fresh and so clean.
Yes. Because we don't give out talco. So that's
Talco with latex.
He's got to go through a lot of talcum powder.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We should send him el de la española.
Maha.
Aha.
Maha. I have there. Actually, the other day I was looking through it. I kept los tacos of my grandmother, the Maha, the española.
Yeah.
And I have them there, and it's so funny. Like, I would never bathe with that because ese jabón es de rayo. Who knows what's in there and that. But the smell is so quintessential grandmother.
It's comforting.
It's so like, mima, abuela. It's like, just amazing. So anyway, everybody, well, that was a show.
That was
That was a roller coaster.
Yes, that was a show.
So I guess what we got out of this is that really I want to be a hoe, but I dress up as
a monk.
As a monk. So,
Darian Borges, Madonna whore complex.
that's so not where I wanted to go with that. Anyway, we hope everybody listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. That was episode 196. We're 4 episodes away from 200. Please don't let there be another pandemic.
Yeah, we want to do something. We just don't know what.
Yeah. So I'll be checking your messages. We might be having a block party. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll figure something out.
Calle Ocho. We'll be the world's second largest.
And by Renta Calle Ocho, we mean literally like just a block. Because that's all we can afford.
Anyway, well, have a good weekend, everybody.
All right, cuídense. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.